Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Star Wars Resistance renewed for Season 2. So in the fall of 2019, we will be getting Season 2 of Star Wars Resistance. Additionally, we also got a look at the rest of Season 1. So I'm going to kind of break some of that down, talk a little bit about Star Wars Resistance, and kind of ask the question, is it maybe getting better? If you're like me, maybe you haven't been that blown away with this show. Maybe you have. First thing, I want to caveat all of this with however you feel about Star Wars Resistance, that's fine. We're all entitled to our own opinions. I'm not super thrilled with the show, but I don't expect that much out of it. That's fine. I still watch it. I watch it with my kids. I think it's very good for that. But it's totally cool not to you don't have to love every single thing that's Star Wars. I don't want to bash on anybody who doesn't like, one movie or another property or whatever. That's fine. I'm not that big of a fan of this show, but it looks to me like it's starting to get a little better. I felt a little bit similar about Star Wars Rebels when I first started out too. Wasn't super thrilled with it at the very, very beginning, but then once it got going, towards the end of the first season, it really picked up, and I said, okay, I really, like 3/4 of the way through the first season, I was like, all right, I love this show. And then Season 2, it was like a grand slam home run. I absolutely loved Season 2. So I'm hoping Resistance ends up going in a similar direction. And based on this trailer, it looks like it potentially could. So let's talk a little bit about the trailer. First thing we're going to notice is that we are getting, a new look for Kaz. Not really a big deal, but it's kind of showing him maybe he's drifting away from being like the bumbling idiot to maybe a little bit more of an Ezra kind of character. I see him kind of channeling that, like, all right, now it's time to fight. And I wouldn't mind if they did that. I think his show's ready for that. That was one of the things I really wasn't too crazy about with the show so far, is that I expected it to be about these aces and this flying show about, like flying and racing and, daredevil ships flying close proximity and like all kinds of like a Top Gun kind of show. And at least in the first half of Season 1, there was very, very little of that. It was mostly Kaz getting into silly like 1990s TV sitcom situations, and it was very predictable. It was I found it very boring, but it was also a very kid appropriate show, so watching with the kids became like a weekly routine. So I take the good with the bad here. It's, not everything has to be like the last 20 minutes of Rogue One. I'm able to compartmentalize. Okay, this is good for this is good for that. But it looks like they're going to get a little bit more, intense in this second season. So that's cool. Or not second season. This is not even Season 2. This is just the second half of the first season. And so it's kind of cool how they kind of split things into halves, each of the seasons into halves, because each season is almost like 2 seasons. Because they kind of group the first half as one kind of story arc and the second half as not a different story arc, but they just feel like they go together. So it feels like you're getting different chapters. So that's something. Now, one of the things that was important about this is it does confirm that this is taking us up to the movies. I wasn't sure. They said this was going to be 6 months prior. We didn't really know how long, it was going to be for the first season. Like, was it going to be 3 seasons that took us up to The Force Awakens? And apparently, no. For Season 1 is taking us up to The Force Awakens because we get General Hux' speech when they destroy the New Republic. That apparently is happening here. My prediction is that this is actually going to be the finale. This is going to be like the last or second to last episode. And so Season 1 is going to take us all the way up until like the beginning of The Last Jedi, right? And I don't think Kaz will be involved in The Last Jedi, but because if it goes to Starkiller Base blowing up, the Resistance or the New Republic, well, Episode 8 was the next day, so it's not like it can really have that much time difference between this episode and the next one, right? So, but that's important to know because that means whatever happens in Season 2 is going to be most likely post Episode 8. So now we'll be getting into all new territory where we won't know what's happened yet. And that kind of excites me. Potentially. It has the potential to excite me because if the delivery is still done in a kind of a goofy, bumbling way, then it won't be as exciting for me. But if they do, explore new things and go to new systems, and maybe you can have like a little bit more focus on Leia. And maybe that's one thing that this show can potentially do, because we do see Leia talking to Kaz, telling him, come find us and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. Also, this trailer gave us a glimpse that we're going to have a lot more combat, a lot more aerial in space, a lot more vehicular combat, which is definitely a plus, because that's what this show was supposed to be all about, and we barely got any of it. So I'm like, now we're finally getting all the stuff that was promised to us. I wanted to see more of these aces. That was like one of my biggest complaints of the first half of this season, is all of the lead up going into this show is all about like these ace pilots, and Kaz is going to come into this crew of elite people. Like this week, let's look at at this ace pilot. This week, let's look at Hype Faison. I like Hype Faison too, actually, but it's because I like Scrubs and I love Donald Faison, and I'm a big Turk fan. So I was going to like him no matter what. So that's not even fair. I think I should talk about somebody else, because it's not even fair to criticize Donald Faison. He is the man. And if you're watching Donald, you rock. All right. So anyway, no, but that was my problem, is we didn't get enough of these aces, and it looks like the aces are going to be fighting against the First Order a little bit here. So and if you watch the little, basically the First Order is going to come in and occupy the station where they're at, and then the aces are going to like kind of fight back against the First Order, and that's going to be like much of the bulk of the season, it sounds to me like. We do get a little bit of some action going out in space too. That red TIE interceptor is in a lot of these shots, so that's going to be very, very important with this major. This major. I don't even remember his name, but like it tells you how much I really pay attention to this show, right? Like I watch it and I'm just like, I forget it like the very next day. There have been a lot of Sundays that can come and I forget to even watch it, and so like then Monday or Tuesday I'll be like, hey kids, do you remember Star Wars Resistance? We gonna watch that? So because it's been so kind of low energy, but hopefully the second half will be a lot more interesting. One interesting thing is, before we get to the General Hux scene, it looks like Poe and Kaz are going to find like the test site for Starkiller Base, which looks kind of cool. Like they say, oh, there should have been a star in this system, but there's no star here. Well, that's weird. Why is that? And what could have done that to these planets or these planetoids? So obviously they drained a small star, and blew up some moons and some planets and stuff, and then this is what's left over. So this kind of gives them. So this way the Resistance knows what Starkiller Base is capable of, at least to some extent. Or at least they know that the First Order has something. I don't know if they know all that much about Starkiller Base, because honestly they can't find out that much about Starkiller Base. Because that was like Finn's whole claim to fame in Episode 7, is like he was the inside man and he knew about Starkiller Base. So that was interesting. Another thing that looks cool is, one of the main characters gets taken into prison. This is going to be one of the arcs when they have to go save her. But there's this other officer here. She looks like like an ISB kind of agent. She's got that Agent Callus kind of mask going on. But they have done facial animation on this First Order officer here, which is important because they generally don't draw a face on somebody if they're a throwaway character. So this is actually going to be an important character, I'm guessing, and so that's interesting. And I like to see more female characters too, because especially people of color. I love seeing that in Star Wars, especially like major releases rather than just being books. Like, look, I love Ciena Ree and I love Admiral Sloane, but they're really just book characters, right? So it's harder to have like cosplay options and stuff, and I have a lot of friends that do that, and so it's really cool seeing new options come out for a more variety of people. So I like that. I wonder if she will have, because we know also that Ray Sloane is in the First Order, or at least for a good amount of time. So I wonder if she might be somehow related to Ray Sloane. Watch her be like Ray Sloane's daughter or something like that. That would be interesting. It may not be, and I'm not just saying that because she's, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think that's You know, but I think it's cool that they're giving us another new officer, another new bad guy or bad gal or whatever. So that's cool because we've already got Major Von Reg, that's his name, and then Captain Captain Pyre. In addition to Phasma, we know Phasma's safe, but you know any new villain that we haven't seen before, they could potentially die too. So, or they could potentially pull a Callus and swap sides. A lot of potential with new antagonists. It looks like their base goes underwater. In the preview, at first it looked like First Order destroys it and it crashes. But my prediction here is that it actually submerges intentionally, like it's deliberately going underwater. That's what I think, because there are some scenes where it looks like they're taking a craft underwater on purpose, and I think they're like hiding the base. That's what I'm guessing. They're doing that to hide so the First Order can't land ships on the base anymore. That's my guess. Also, you get this cool little droid. It is like kind of like an updated version of the probe droid, but it got its own little probe, so it's like the mother probe. It's like the Queen Zerg of droids. Kind of cool, potentially cool. Could show up in Star Wars Legion. Speaking of Star Wars gaming, you got this big pirate ship, and my feeling is that this is going to be in the first episode. My guess is the first episode of the second half, based on everything that is talked about here. The pirates are going to attack, and the First Order use that as an opportunity to say, look, your aces aren't good enough. We're going to ground all your aces. We'll come in and patrol the skies. Our TIE fighters will now be your defense force, and as an excuse to garrison troops, because that's kind of goes along with everything that they've done. But to initiate that attack, they bring in this giant pirate ship, and this thing apparently looks really, really big, because like it's off in the distance. It's really far there, and they have like gunners on top of it and stuff. So this is like a straight up like a small capital starship, which is kind of cool because, hey, don't scum and villainy need like a Corvette size capital ship for X-Wing Epic? Maybe, you know, I don't know what new ships they're going to be doing, because like this could even, you know, honestly, if we're looking at even games like Armada, looking for stuff like, you know, new ships for other factions, if they want to do sequel factions one day, this could potentially be a First Order ship, since they are technically working for the First Order. Granted, it's not going to look right on the tabletop with a whole bunch of First Order Star Destroyers, you know. But either way, I like seeing new ships, especially big new ships, and this one looks really big. It doesn't look Star Warsy. It looks more like a Hutt kind of a ship, which again, it's a scum pirate kind of faction, so it seems appropriate to, you know, be along those lines. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a Hutt on board. That would be really cool, but I doubt that. Doubt that a Hutt would be doing business with the First Order like that. But who knows, right? Interesting stuff. So yeah, a lot of little interesting things in here, but it looks like we're definitely getting more action, which is important. It looks like the Aces are going to be more involved. Kaz will actually probably be flying with the Aces, doing battle against the First Order. Starkiller Base is going to happen. Maybe we'll get, I mean, I don't think this first season is going to take us past Episode 8, but I think it'll take us up to like Episode 7's Aftermath and what else is going on during Episode 8. And that's probably where Season 1 will kind of end. And then Season 2 will probably deal with the aftermath of Episode 8 and, you know, kind of start to tell the story that will take us to 9. And that is basically what I'm guessing. But let me know. I mean, what do you think? I think this is a good thing for Star Wars Resistance. I think this is going to help pave the way towards, you know, Episode 9. I think it's going to be a way to fill the gaps. I think it's going to be a way for them to do a lot of stuff with Leia now that Carrie Fisher's gone, but they have just some footage that they're going to use in Episode 9. I think this is a lot of a way to be able to tell her portion of the story before Episode 9 actually comes out. You know, enough such that the movie might not have to, because, like, granted, I get it, a movie shouldn't require you to have to also go on and watch the show, but we lost Carrie, and I think this is a way for them to try to tell the story with using the footage that we happen to have, you know, so I think that's maybe just an option for them. But again, I'm just predicting, I don't know. Also want to remind you guys there's a lightsaber giveaway going on right now. So if you want to win a Force FX lightsaber in the form of an Amazon gift card, all you have to do is make sure you're a subscriber and leave a comment. The details are on Crabbok.com, and it's real simple. There's a big giveaway going on right now, so make sure you enter that. All right, guys, that's all I got. Let's talk some more about Star Wars Resistance down in the comments. Let me know what you think of it so far. You know, are you really liking it? Nothing wrong with that. Do you hate it? Nothing wrong with that. Although, if you hate it, you don't always have to spread your hate. Like, if you hate something, probably best to just ignore it or try to. Me, I'm kind of lukewarm on it. It could be better, but maybe it's starting to get better. We'll see. You know, we'll see. I don't have to love everything Star Wars. I just happen to love almost everything Star Wars. All right, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Hop over to Crabbok.com. You can hop in my Discord, say hi. Big thanks to my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and have a great day.